Hey, thanks for joining for this week's video. We're excited to be talking about the Indiana 2024 Spring Commissioner Sales. And these are going to be also known as spring sales, and we'll talk about what the difference is in these and the other sales. We'll also go through the auctions at a high level and then drill all the way down into a few of the counties and show you how to find properties so you can go bid on them. We're going to be using Parcel Fair today since this is the Parcel Fair channel on YouTube. And if you want to check out more videos, we have more Indiana videos. We have videos about tax investing in other states. So check out the channel, subscribe, and you will get a weekly notification when we publish our videos. So let's dive into Indiana and talk about how do these spring auctions work. So let's get the terminology straight first. These are spring tax auctions that are also called commissioner sales. It's to distinguish really the spring season from the fall season, because the fall season are called treasurer sales. Really, it just means that the treasurer sales are handled by the county treasurer. The spring sales are handled by the county commissioner. So depending on which county department is handling the sale, that's what they call it. You'll also hear them, again, called spring and fall seasons. The treasurer sale is sometimes called the standard sale, too, to make it even more confusing. But ultimately, if you can determine if it's spring or fall and which department is handling the sale, that's going to tell you what you're buying, the rules of that tax lien that you're buying. There are also occasional tax deed sales in select counties. These are rare, and honestly, I don't even know if they have any this year coming up. So far, we've not seen any. But you could have a tax deed sale by law. The state allows it. And there are also foreclosure auctions year-round that are on Parcel Fair. You'll see those, and I'll show you how to filter those out of the way if you're looking for tax liens instead. But there's a lot of opportunity to buy in Indiana throughout the year, whether it's spring sales or fall sales, or if you're looking at the foreclosure auctions. So ultimately, these spring sales, they're offering the leftovers from previous tax lien sales. So what we have is in the fall, you're going to have those treasurer sales, have the first shot at a property that's been delinquent at buying a lien on it. And if it does not sell at the treasurer sale, it rolls over to the commissioner sales in the spring. And those spring commissioner sales might have more than 1 year worth of liens. It's kind of a bucket that just keeps accruing these leftover liens. So you're not just going to see the leftovers that are new, you're going to see leftovers that are old as well. And because of that, there are no OTCs in Indiana, because they don't have like a way to just come buy the property straight off the OTC. You actually have to buy it at an auction, even if it is a leftover. So specifically the spring auctions, these commissioner sales, they have a 120-day redemption. And that's opposed to the fall treasurer sales that have a 1-year redemption. So there's a bit of appeal to buying at the spring sale, because it only has basically 4 months before you get issued that tax deed, so you can get through that redemption period much quicker. They have a 10% interest rate, and it is penalty based instead of prorated, so you get 10% regardless of when the redemption happens. The auctions are a mixture of in-person and online. There's a wonderful website called SRI Services that we're going to show you that helps you through some of the registrations and understanding where and when the auctions are. And we'll get to that in a moment with our demo, but that's a very useful resource for you. So let's recap the sequence of what happens to a tax delinquent property in Indiana. Every year on July 1st, the tax delinquent lists are published of all the properties that are delinquent on their taxes. And you get that first shot at buying a lien on the property in the fall auction sales. These are the treasurer sales. So the county treasurer is holding a sale for each county, sometime August through really it's November we've even seen. But it's definitely in the fall when you're going to see those sales happen, and that's your first chance at buying these tax liens. Remember, there's a 1-year redemption if you buy in the treasurer sales. The leftovers, or cumulatively, go to the commissioner sales, which are in the spring, which is right now what we're looking at. These are all the unsold from fall auctions. February through May is when these auctions occur. And actually, funny enough, as soon as we put that in writing, of course, I've seen these go past May, even sometimes into June. So basically, if you're June or before, you're probably going to be a commissioner sale in the spring. But these are the unsold liens from previous auctions happening in the spring commissioner sale. And this is just an illustration that those leftovers roll over after the spring tax auction that would also roll over to the next auction, and so forth and so on. So let's talk about these spring auctions at a glance. We're looking at 26 auctions that we're tracking this year. 20 of them have not happened yet. So we're right at the very beginning of the season. There's plenty left. A lot of the larger auctions are left as well. As of right now, I hate putting these numbers in writing because they change so fast. The only thing I can guarantee you is that by the time you watch this video, this number's probably changed. But we were looking at the snapshot today of 10,300-ish tax liens available to purchase. The bulk of those are in Lake County, about 80% of them. The rest are just scattered across the other 25 counties. The estimated property value for the whole season is $75 million. And the delinquent taxes that the counties are trying to recover are around $120 million, or probably more than $120 million as our estimate of what they're trying to get together. By the time the sales all take place, that should be roughly accurate there. So that's a glance, a just kind of top-down view of what's in these tax auctions across the board. So now we will dig in and start looking at specific counties, and we'll start with the auction calendar. So right now we're in parcel fair. You can see Indiana 2024, and right now you see there's a lot of auctions here. There's 45 in January, 43 in February, 82 in March. Well, these numbers are really high. Actually, that's 62, sorry. These numbers are really high because we're looking at all auctions. And if you remember, there's foreclosures going on as well. We really just want to see the tax auctions. So there's a filter for that at the top right of the calendar that says tax auctions only. We're going to click on that. Now we've got a much more manageable number on our calendar. We're looking at 10 in March, 10 in April, and 6 have already passed. So starting off in March, you can see the day after day, week after week, there's the sales are nicely spread out, so they're not really on the same day. Looks like probably the same thing in April. You go, they're nicely spread out, and then you basically the season as of right now ends. There could be more announced that we have not seen yet, so I don't want to say it ends. We've seen these auctions go into May and June, so when you're watching this video, you may want to check this auction calendar and see if new auctions have been announced for the spring commissioner sales this year. So what I want to do is take you through these auctions, and I want to start at a small county and then work our way up to Lake County. You can see these are like 30, 33 properties, 17, 23. Some of these are small, and if we go to April, we can see a few of these are bigger, 200, a few hundred properties in some of these, but Lake County is the one that everybody asks about. This is a suburb of Chicago. It's Gary, Indiana is the city pretty much. There's 8,200 available liens listed right now for Lake County. So that you can see why it gets everyone's attention. We're going to do that county last, and we're going to start small. What I've done is, if you were on the auction calendar, you can go into any of these sales by clicking the map or clicking the list. And when you do that, you can see like all the properties in the county, including foreclosures and anything available, or you could just say, just map the properties from this auction. And that's what I'm doing in this video, is we're just going to look at only map the properties from the auction. We're ignoring the foreclosures for now. So we're looking at Elkhart County. It's in the northern part of the state, and it's just looks like it's east of South Bend. And what we're doing is I've drawn the county borders on the map, so you can see all the properties are inside this almost a square here. And with 77 parcels, there's you can see them on the map. They're these yellow shapes that are scattered around. And if we wanted, we could actually go satellite view on the map in this top left corner. And now we're looking at rooftops and vacant lots like we're in a helicopter. It's just a nice top-down view. You can see a property and get a bird's eye view like this, and then take a look at the property And actually, as we see now, this property is a vacant lot now. So that's why you go through this process. But another way to do this, instead of just picking and hunting through the map and just finding it, on a small county like this with so few properties, I want to actually just filter these down and save myself some time. So you can see I've clicked on the search filters. I'm looking at Indiana, Elkhart County. We are filtered by this particular lien auction, ignoring those 3 foreclosure auctions right here. And I have no other filters set right now, but I'm going to go ahead and say, let's look at only properties with improvements using this box right here. And you'll notice my matching properties went from 77 down to 16. So I just ruled out a chunk of the properties without having to do any legwork, just filtering here. And if that's the only thing I'm really going to care about, I'm just going to go ahead and click go. And I've now narrowed it down, and you can see these are properties that have buildings on them. At least per the county records, they have buildings on them. As always, you want to verify that if you're taking a property seriously, you want to verify that it actually still has the structure, because it very well may not. So let's take a look at this one. We'll just pick this red house, and I have the worst luck with Google Street View. The day that it went by, it looks like there was a trailer parked in front of the house. So I'm going to click View Panorama, and we're going to trying to look at this house right here. So I'm going to back the Google car up and see if we can zoom in from here. So we can see a lot about this structure. There's a whole lot going on here. There's some fencing, some collectibles in the yard, a lot of interesting, it looks like a very old house with some interesting additions to it. So, this is a great way just to get that view of the property as of recently enough when the Google car drove by. So we can take the street view there. And if we close out of that, let's go back and let's just look at what we have here. We can see that it's 0.27 acres. We can see the address of the property right here. That's an occupied address, according to the U.S. Postal Service. The valuation breakdown here on the right side is very useful too. That the land value is $21,000, and the improvements are $65,000 for a total of $87,300. And we can also see that this is in an opportunity zone, which is useful to know, because that link right there will take you to the opportunity zones on the HUD website and explain to you more. But the short of it is there could be tax benefits if you're an investor and want to transfer some of your non-real estate assets over. But understand those programs if that's part of your strategy. It's more than I'm going to cover in this video. So probably the most important thing on this entire screen is the next part. The purchase options have listed as the upcoming auction on Elkhart Commissioner's Sale is where we're buying. If we click on that, we can see that this auction is in person at the the administration building in Elkhart County. We have the room and the address and all that stuff going on too. So if we want to actually register for the sale or view the list, we have links for both of those right here. So let's just click on the register for the sale first, and let's close out of that. This takes us to that site I told you about, SRI, and all of the information here for you to register for that sale. Now we were interested in the certificate sale right here. We can register by clicking that link, or we can view the sale here. So this is going to give us some other information all about this sale, landowner facts, certificate sale. This is great information if you're going to settle into Indiana and invest here. I recommend reading a lot of this, and that's how you're going to gain your advantage and avoid some of the pitfalls. But this snapshot right here tells you everything you need to go register for the sale, to attend the sale, and that's why I took you to that link, is just to show you that. If we click on auction list, this is going to bring us to SRI with the filters already set, and we can see those properties individually. Kind of different view here, but if you wanted to check it out on this website, that's how you would do that. So that's top to bottom one of the properties here. I'm going to show you one more trick on this, again, a smaller county, 16 parcels. It's tough to view on the map. I can use this right-hand side, and that's good. If I see, like on this property, I like the street view image. If I click Find on Map, it will take me to the property to see more. And if let's go down one more, this one that's maybe a commercial building, click find on map, and now I'm going to go to the report for that one. So you can see this is like a much more expensive building here, $1.1 million. It's a totally different type of investment, but it's also in an opportunity zone, and it's in that exact same sale. So I go through the same steps to register if I was just wanted to go on this property instead. So let's switch to another county. This one's going to be slightly bigger. We're looking at Madison County, which, let's zoom out, we're in the central part of the state. We are northeast of Indianapolis and southwest of Muncie. So Anderson looks like the big city here in Madison County. And just like before, we have these shapes on the map. If we turn on satellite view, I can look at the rooftops and zoom right in to just do my helicopter view here. And remember, we can click on things that interest us. Of course, we can always just pick and choose this way. And let's see, I found a rooftop here. So it says land only, so that means that the county records show the house is gone, so we're not going to bother with it. We'll just keep clicking around, and there's another rooftop here. This one's land and buildings, and I'll do full details on that one. Well, this one looks like it's actually been demolished as well. So this is why these are the leftovers. Probably because the county valuations have not shown that it's demolished yet, but we can see it on the map at least, so it saved us some trouble. Let's go to our filters again, and we are looking at just the lien auction, and we are looking at improvements now. We're going to narrow it down, and let's start with those 82 and see where it takes us. So now we're looking at just the improved property, and so there should be structures on everything we see here. Let's take a look at the first one. This looks like these side buildings next to this house. According to the satellite, I can tell I'm not buying the house that's outside of this shape. I'm buying the two smaller buildings next to it. And I'm technically buying the lien on them, to be exact. But the same type of thought process here. We're looking at the land value is $7,500. The improvements are $8,200. Total value $15,700. It's pretty cheap property as far as value goes, because it's really just, it looks like a garage or two. And this is Madison's commissioner sale, so it's going to be different. Let's look at the purchase option here. Will take us through a different set of steps, because the location, date, and time are different. But we are still going to click register for tax sale the same way. Close out of that. And it's the same thing we're looking at as before. All the information on SRI about the different sales here for us to look at, so we can understand what we're buying. And let's close out of that property and go back to the map. Let's see. I had a property saved to look at here. This one was interesting because it looks like it's non-residential. It's this brick building, and I figured we would look at the street view. Oh, I'm sorry, it's not brick. It's just brick colored. It's actually a wooden building. Looks like it used to be maybe a Texas Roadhouse or Texas something. I don't know the name of it, but it probably was a restaurant. It's in the middle of a massive parking lot, and we're just driving through the parking lot here. We can look around and see we're actually, again, massive parking lot for the shopping center. And back to the map, we can see, well, I say it's in a massive parking lot. According to this GIS map here at the bottom right, the parking lot's not really included in this parcel. So we're looking at really the building. And in fact, our valuation agrees. This is interesting because when you see the improvements and the total value are equal and then there is no land value, we can presume that this is just the building. And when we read to the legal description here from the county, we can also see it's the building on the leased ground. So that was good information to know, is that you're not buying the land, you're not buying the parking lot, you are just buying a lien on this building. So it's an important distinction to make when you're looking at these tax lien properties. So that was a good example. Before we move on to Lake County, let's do one last filter here. And I'm just going to try this one, make it up as I go. let's see if we can do out-of-state owners and see if there's any properties available. There are 16. So the reason I did that is a common strategy for tax properties is if you want to lower the chance of redemption, you want to find situations where the owner is not in the house or distant, far away from the house. And so we've narrowed this auction down to just the properties with improvements and just the properties with out-of-state owners, and that gave us 16 total. So it'll take me just a second to look at these on the right-hand side here. This one interests me when I see it on the street view. Let's zoom in and take a look. It's also going to be a side lot next to a house, it looks like, so maybe not as interesting as I thought. I'm also kind of glancing at valuations as I go on the right. This one catches my eye. Actually, both of these. This one's valued at $30,000. So zooming in on that, that's probably a great one to look at. It's the house behind these trees. So I'm going to click on this panorama view button, and we're going to see what we can see through the hedges here. Not a ton. I do see brick structure. The roof looks like it's in okay condition, but I'm worried about these trees impeding on that. So would definitely want some more up-to-date photos if I'm chasing this property. But potentially boarded up, hard to really see from here. Let's see if we can go down the street and get any more of a view here. So from this side, I can see, again, trees growing to the roof, but maybe okay. Brick chimney, and frankly, you can see some trash accumulating and the bushes growing over. I don't think this house is occupied. And based on this green button right here that says vacant property address, that means the U.S. Postal Service thinks that it's vacant as well. They check these regularly and keep a database of that. So what we're looking at is a vacant brick property in Anderson, Indiana, Madison County, worth $30,000. And if I wanted to bid on this property, I would click on the upcoming auction and register here at the Register for Tax Sale. So that's a pretty good example of what you could do maybe to get a rental property. Remember, there's the 4-month redemption. So you would know pretty quickly if you're going to get the property within 4 months. So that's a great way to end Madison County. Now let's move on to Lake County. This is the big one. We're in the northwest corner of the state on the edge of Chicago and the Great Lakes here. And Lake County is just peppered with opportunities here. Many neighborhoods, your interstate's passing through, so if you know the areas, that can help narrow you down. If you want to go south of 94, north of 94, this area. With 8,200 properties, I don't recommend doing this very much. You could go back to the satellite and just poke and peck around and see if you find something like with a rooftop. And you might get lucky and find something that's standing like this. It looks like this building, this yellow building here we're looking at. It is occupied, worth $17,000. So I want to take you, of course, we've been practicing here. The filters, we're going to go down to improvements because let's pretend I just care about buildings. And I want to set a valuation of at least $20,000 right here. And I want to see that took out a chunk down to 242 properties remaining. So let's go ahead and take it down to, let's check out of city owners and see what it does. Out of state owners is even less, 70 properties. And let's just leave it at that. I think that's 70 properties is enough to look at. So based on this, I can see property like this that looks like it's in decent shape. From the street, let's do our panorama view trick and zoom in on it. I can see there's boarded up windows, definitely some damage, but there's some brick here going on. Maybe there used to be a canopy here or something over this porch. Absolutely, it looks like there was because there's 2 pillars that used to hold something up there. So there's some obvious things to do if you were to get this property. Fortunately, your redemption is 4 months and you can get to work on this pretty quick. But it looks like it has some potential. Let's go back and see the report here. We can see the property is considered vacant from the Postal Service, and the valuations are very low on it. So with the valuations this low, I would want to see a more recent photo before I would buy this, just to make sure I'm not buying something that's now crumbled or burned or something like that. But remember, we're in Lake County now, which is going to have a totally different set of instructions to register. So this purchase options block is your friend. You want to click on this button, and we have a link to register for the tax sale. This one's actually online. We can go see the tax information is held on Onyx Electronics is one website. They have two lists that we've combined for you. And then the actual registration here is on Zeus Auction, which is a great online auction site that does some of Indiana, maybe less than half the counties. And so you would follow these steps to create your account, register for the auction. You're already viewing the listings, but we can help you jump straight to this property once you're in there. Then you would bid and see if you get the property. So that's how you would register for Lake County and chase after a property like this. While we're on Lake County, we do have some deep links here on the right, on the research links. If you want to look up this property in their GIS site, you just click that link, and we'll give it a moment to catch up with this. But this is loading, and let's accept the terms. This loaded their GIS site with their county data. So it'll match what you see in parcel fair, but it's a way of just double checking a property, seeing what else I can find out about it. The same with this assessor property details. This is kind of a property card sort of page. A lot of people call it that. And what we're seeing here is going to be details about this property from the assessor perspective. We can see things about the neighborhood. We can see things about the ownership transfer, sales history, valuation history. And this is very important here because we can see over the years the valuation changing. And you can see trending up, trending down, adjustments as they go. So these county sources are very useful if you want to look for this as well. Like there's the county recorder with property liens. If we want to check for other liens, this is where we would do it. So this is basically how you would do your due diligence on the property like this, would be looking at the county sources beyond what we show you. And really, we're here to help you narrow these auctions down and quickly get to the properties that interest you so you can work through your due diligence and win at these auctions. We're hearing great results from our users. I'm excited every time I get to talk to somebody. So if you use our software and want to tell us about some of your successes in Indiana or anywhere for that matter, we love to chat about it and just talk shop and compare notes. Especially, we do have a Facebook group and a YouTube comments here you can participate in. And we love to learn from you and share experiences. So if you want to get a dialogue started, reach out on the YouTube comments or on our contact form on the website here. And we'd love to hear how things are going for you. So I hope this video was helpful, and have a great week.